Well, I got a late start due to work, so I was like, what's the best way I can get in contact with as many people? So I decided to do Facebook.
Okay.
So I went through like probably about 30 contacts and just did personalized messages based off of, high school or just haven't talked to somebody in a long time. And I
Right.
really got some really good feedback. And people just like, oh, like you thought about me. That's so sweet. I actually connected with one of my aunts from my stepdad's side. And I actually had 2 appointments yesterday over the phone. So it went really well. And it's a lot of people that's just not educated and think that they cannot own their own home. So I was just telling them about different programs. So it was a really good turnout.
Awesome. So those 2 appointments were kind of like spur of the moment appointments with leads that or people that you knew,
Hmm.
yet didn't know that there was an opportunity there, right?
Yeah, it's just like I want to know
Recognized
more.
an
So it
opportunity
was
and
like,
you
yeah,
boom.
you can give me a call. So, I was like, when are you free? And it was like, oh, tonight after 7 or tonight after 6. So it went really well.
Beautiful. So what I'm hearing, the lesson I hear in that is preparation, right? You're prepared with the either the right technology or the right presentation or the right list of questions to ask. And so if somebody says, hey, I'm curious, and by the way, I'm available right now, or I'm available in 20 minutes, you're ready. All you got to do
Right.
is
And it's definitely going to lead to a second appointment. But, being that they said, okay, I want to know more. So, initial conversation was over the phone. And then I actually set up a Zoom meeting for next week for like Tuesday with her and her husband. So,
beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, sometimes it can be a little challenging to get all the decision makers in place, on a short-term appointment, but good job setting up the expectation that there'll be another one. Good job. Okay, who else wants to share?
I got Keller offer certified yesterday.
Awesome.
Like right in the middle of bold. I had to like take a break, do that, and then go back to bold. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, it's kind of like you feel busy, right? You feel like it's a real job.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Start thinking about how you're going to use Keller offers in your presentations and potentially even in your marketing so that you can get some more opportunities.
Yeah, that and not because now I have both of them. So I'm like putting the logos of both of them all over my social media and stuff.
Cool. You know what? One of the other things you could do is record, like, if it's possible to record like a 30-second video on kind of what knock even is and the type of person who would be interested in learning more. So for example, if you said, hey, would you love to buy, yet you're worried about selling in a fast market and not being able to find what you want, or you don't have access to your equity, so that you really need to sell first and that it's causing problems for you, let's talk. I got the perfect program for you. It does this, this, and this. And if you have additional questions, call me at this time, right? Or PM me privately or something, right?
Yeah, awesome. That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that this week. Thank you.
Yeah, and I don't know if the schedule has changed, but I think they're offering those certification classes every Tuesday and Thursday. Is that right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. They're offering it today, Bill, and I think the 13th and the 14th actually. Those are the next 3 when I went to sign up.
Okay, perfect.
13th.
Perfect. Guys, that's a free certification. I'm not sure I would accept any excuse for not getting enrolled in that. There's just no reason not to, right?
It's
No
not
reason not to.
it's not a hard test at all. I mean, you just listen to the presentation and then you take a test on it. It's not hard.
So Heather, how long was the class for it? Just curious. I signed up. Just curious how long it is.
Okay, so it started at 12 and it said it went to 2:30, but we were pretty much finished by 2, and that includes taking the test.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, remember yesterday was the final day of our reporting period, so I'm hoping that some of the numbers are a little higher than normal because we spent an extra amount of time generating contacts and lead gen time yesterday. So please go ahead and report your numbers for October 1st through 7th. Remember the gray line, the light gray line is the actuals, and the light green line below it is where you put your goals. And I want you to put your goals in for the week of the 8th through the 14th. That is ready. And if by chance you have not done any of the weeks of September, please go back in and complete that for me, okay? Okay. Anyone else want to share? And then we'll move into our topic for today. Anyone else have anything funny happen? Anything exciting happen? Any other people book an appointment or hold an appointment? I'll share something. So we've done this like, I don't know, maybe 5 times or so. And the general theme, I would say, is that my assistant, I have her come in and work the straight day rather than the split shift on this particular day. And generally she's texting all day long and I'm calling all day long. And yesterday was different, but every time previous, she has generated the vast majority of the contacts, and she has generated the vast majority of the appointments. And then I throw in 1 or 2, but she's definitely driving the train. Okay, yesterday, she probably sent out close to 1,000 texts, and I booked 1 appointment through those texts. And I made all the calls, and I booked 7 appointments on the phone. So, and I'm waiting to confirm 2 others. So sometimes, guys, text works, and sometimes it seems like you have an off day on text. And that's the same idea with the phone. Sometimes you have an awesome day on the phone. Sometimes you have a lousy day on the phone. And the idea there is that you just don't know which one it's going to be. And if you remember what Paul Tully said at the beginning of the week, he said, if you work it, it works in the long term. And if you don't work it, it ain't gonna work, right? So don't judge your performance on one day, okay? This is a long road, okay? We're gonna have to get comfortable with the monotony of success. A lot of people, I was listening to the One Thing session from Mega Camp on the way in today, and Jay said a lot of people are interested in the shiny new object rather than the boring proven plan, right? Making calls and following up and putting people on smart plans, that is the boring proven method of building a business and creating opportunity for yourself, right? Some new toy it may be proven later on, but oftentimes it's a distraction to what we know works. All right, anyone else want to share anything about Bold? You guys must be tired from all the talking yesterday because you're unusually tired today.
I only got 16 people. Good conversations.
Well, and you were in the room most of the day. What was your experience? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I'm on mute. So I made a bunch of calls, and I got like a couple of people for CMAs, 3 people for CMAs, and a couple of other people, 6 or 7 people I made contact with, and they'll allow me to. They gave me their email addresses and stuff like that on the phone, and I'll be able to send them material, marketing material and stuff like that for every weekly.
Beautiful. So these are people that presumably don't have a relationship with a real estate agent, and if you continue to earn that relationship, it'll be yours forever and ever, right?
Yeah, and I have one woman that is from New York that and she's coming in December, so I kind of schedule a follow up with her also, because she's renting her property, and I wanted to know if she was willing to sell it, and she said maybe in December we'll talk about it more in depth. So I also have something booked out in December. So
right. I would possibly just tweak one little phrase that you just said, which is if they currently believe, and I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but they currently believe that the most strategic plan for the ownership of that property is to rent it. So rather than going in there and say, do you want to sell it? You could say, you know, it is likely a very different market for renting and for sales than the one that you chose to rent within. So what I'm finding with a lot of my clients and prospects is that when they every year, at least once a year, to sit down and kind of evaluate how well this asset is performing for you. And what we find is sometimes that owners believe, you know, we prove to ourselves that renting is absolutely the best route to go. And sometimes we actually prove to ourselves that selling could be the best route. Would you be interested in evaluating that together with me? Right?
Okay, I like that.
Because when you say something like, want to sell it, that can come off as like, you know, cha-ching, 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 I see a commission here. When it may not be the best move, right? We just helped somebody sell a long-time rental. They've been renting this home for probably 8 or 9 years. It was the guy's original bachelor pad, and then he married and he kept it as an investment property. And we evaluated that situation every single year for like 7 years. And every single year we said, it makes more sense to rent. It does. If I owned this thing, I would rent it. And then last year, or not last year, maybe 6 months ago, we called and we had the conversation. And I said, I got to tell you, I think it's time to sell. And he said, why? And I was able to walk him through all the financials, right? And I was able to explain to him, because this is how well your asset is performing for you now. And what do you think about that? And he said, I think you're absolutely right. Right. And so sometimes it makes sense for them to rent. By the way, you get paid for that too. And sometimes it makes sense for them to sell.
Now, you said something very interesting there.
Go ahead.
So I wanted to just follow up on that. So how do you determine whether or not it's better for rental versus selling?
A great question. I'm going to give you a somewhat of a quick answer. There's a lot of different ways to evaluate this, but generally my tendency is to evaluate in the following way. Number one, I need to know how this investment fits into the larger scale of their portfolio, right? Do they have like a lot of houses? Is this like the only one? Like, what other types of investments do they have? Like, what's their short-term goal? What's their long-term goal? Like, it's not just crunching the numbers, in my opinion. I think it really functions as a, look, you have an asset and we need to evaluate what the best way to use this asset is. Okay, so based on what their goals are and what their motivation is for the asset, we kind of have a framework to look at the investment in. What I generally did with him, and what I generally do with most people, is I find out what their financing situation is, right? So do they have a mortgage? More often than not, they do, right? What's the rate, right? And what is their monthly and or annual profit? So for example, this guy had about $140,000 worth of equity, okay? $140,000 worth of equity. And he was making about, I'm trying to remember, Pam, what exactly it was, but it was like $150 a month in cash flow. It wasn't much at all, okay? So he was making, what would that be, $6,000 a year in profits. That, by the way, could get wiped out as soon as the AC system breaks or the roof needs a repair or something like that, right? Something a bit unexpected. So he had a generous $6,000 in pure profit each year. And he was using $140,000 of asset, of equity, in order to generate that. That's like 4.5%. It's not that good. So then I said to him, what would you do with the cash? Right? If you were to sell this place, what would you do with the cash? And he's like, honestly, I'm not sure. I said, honestly, I'd go and buy 2 investment properties rather than just this one. And if you're going to do that, you could at least double your cash flow, right? So why have a property with like 70-something% equity when you can go refinance at the lowest rates possible and go get 2 of them, right? And so it's basically an evaluate. I usually use the cash on cash approach, which is how much cash are we using, which is the equity, in order to generate the returns that I'm getting. And I'd like to see at least 10%. At least. If it's less than 10%, I'm given a serious evaluation of whether I think this is the right investment or not. And quite honestly, that's what I'm doing with my my rental. I'm trying to find my calculator. Basically, I'm making about $250 roughly per month. So that's what, $3,000 per year. And I probably have about $70,000 worth of equity. That's a crappy return, guys.
So you don't count the you just talk about the cash flow, not the actual what's the word I'm looking for? Not the entire amount of rent that you, because they're also paying your mortgage too, right?
Yeah, I guess you could throw in the $100 or $200 of debt pay down, but I typically don't factor that in.
You only put the debt. Okay, you only put the cash flow. Okay.
So I'm just simply looking at the cash flow, because if I had this in cash, meaning if I sold the asset, what could I do with it?
All right.
Right. So I have an investment property that at one time looked really good. Right. At one time I had $20,000 worth of equity, and I was making $3,000 worth of monthly cash flow. That's 15%. That's pretty good. Now the property has appreciated a decent amount, and now I probably have closer to $70,000 worth of equity. And at the time, I signed a long-term lease because it made sense for me personally. And I'm not going to kick this woman out so I can make another $100 a month or something. And quite honestly, it's not worth ruffling the feathers, because we get along really well now. And maybe I'm a bit of a pushover, but I don't want to go to her and be like, hey, can I have $50 more a month? Like she's struggling, right? I don't need to do that. Right. So,
well, and the other thing is you also risk her moving out and then you losing a month's or more income, which offsets the cost of what you would have gained by increasing her rent.
Exactly. Plus I got to pay another realtor to find another person. Right. So at some point, it doesn't make much sense to like ruffle.
And you don't know if you're going to find a good person.
Yeah. And this person's awesome. Yeah. She doesn't call me for like, hey, the light bulb went out. Did you try to change it? No, I didn't actually think about that. It's like, seriously? Right. I see that laugh, Julian. You see what I'm saying? Like but at the same time, it doesn't make any sense for me to own this property the way it's financed. And I'm not going to go refinance a $45,000 loan and pay a few $1,000s in closing costs. That doesn't make sense either, right? So I really just should sell. Okay. All right. Does that answer your question, Austin?
I have to evaluate a couple of mine too. That sounds very good, I think. Hey, stop.
You absolutely should, because and then you have to say to yourself, well, what do I do with the money? Right? Yeah. Do you go buy a different type of investment property? Do you put it into some other type of investment? Do you go buy, Amazon stock with it? Do you take it on vacation? Do you get out of debt? Like, there's so many things to evaluate. Whether, like, when somebody buys a piece of property, presumably it's because that is the most strategic way to use their money on that day. And if anything changes in their whole entire financial life between that day and the day you happen to be speaking to them, it may not be the most strategic move for them to be in that situation anymore. And when you really ask those questions about their plans and their life and their budget and their goals, not only are you able to give them a objective analysis of it, but you're also building that relationship and you're building the trust, right? If I say to somebody, hey, I think you should rent instead of buy, they're like, wait a second, this guy just suggests earning less money, right? And they're like, he must be honest. You see what I'm saying? That helpful? Is that helpful, guys? So if you have an investment property, go analyze it. Go figure out if it makes sense or not.
So 10% is the number, right?
Well, when in the Millionaire Real Estate Investor book, Gary, if you guys have not read that or listened to the audiobook, I highly, highly suggest you read that book. Okay, that is we are not just door openers, y'all. We are investment advisors in many respects, right? We have to be able to have that conversation. This is language we have to be familiar with, right? Cap rates and all these kind of things, because our clients are pretty sophisticated a lot of times, right? And they're going to expect you to hang with that kind of conversation. So what Gary suggests and what Jay suggests is when you're evaluating a property, you should look at to purchase. You should look for putting down 20 to 25% on a 15-year note. Actually, they don't necessarily say 15-year note. That's what Dave Ramsey says. But Jay and Gary say a 30-year note, 20 to 25% down, and then you should have monthly rents of at least 0.8%, but ideally closer to 1%. So if you buy a $120,000 property, you should rent it for $1,200. What I see oftentimes is people buying $400,000 properties and renting them for like $1,800. That's a lousy real estate investment. You see what I'm saying? So it's not just like, oftentimes once you get above that like 250, 300 mark, I'd rather have multiple $130,000 homes than one $450,000 home that I was trying to rent out. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it spreads your risk as well.
Right, and you use the cash, you leverage the cash better.
Yeah.
And guys, there's never been cheaper cash. Okay, let's move on to how to net $100,000 and cap in 6 months. Okay, I would venture to say if I ask agents, what is your financial goal for the year? 9 times out of 10, at least, they say 100 grand. I want to make 6 figures. Okay, how to cap in 6 months is actually the exact same math. It's off by like $1,000 as how to net $100,000. Okay, if you have a desire to net more than that, then double the number or make an adjustment slightly so that you can net more money. And obviously I can help you through the math there. Okay, it's actually quite simple, you guys. We need to set 4 appointments a month with a unique buyer and or seller. Set an appointment a week. That should be what is ingrained into your soul. If the week ends and you haven't set an appointment, there is a good chance you're not focused on the right activity daily. Okay? This business is all about appointments. Okay? Appointments is not like, let me go try to extract a commission check out of these people. Appointments is exactly what I just said. Hey, you own a rental home. The rates are as low as they've ever been, and the market is as high as it's been in years. So it might make sense to have an analysis about this investment. Would you like to do that with me? Who's going to turn that down? Right? Oftentimes they're not getting that from their financial advisor. My financial advisor, I mean, that's what's written on his business card, but he's not really a financial advisor. He's a stock seller. You see what I'm saying? And I don't have a lot of money with him, and he's not getting any new money because he's not really advising anything, right? He's never asked me about my real estate endeavors or my profit share income. He's not looking at the whole picture. He's just trying to sell me stock. Y'all see that? So somebody's got to take that role. And many times people either can't afford, don't understand the importance of it, or don't have the time to think about it. They don't have anyone in their life like that. So if you develop those skills, then you get to have an unusual impact on these people's destiny. And let me tell you something. It's not a coincidence, by the way, that 75% of America's wealth is tied up in real estate. I cannot remember where I heard this line, but it said, I don't know much about real estate, but every rich person I know owns real estate, and every person that's, or they either own real estate or all the money they get goes into real estate, something like that. Or no, I'm sorry. Every rich person I know, they either made their money in real estate or they put their money in real estate. Y'all think there's a coincidence there?
Repeat that again, Bill.
Every rich person I know either made their money in real estate or put their money in real estate.
I especially like the part about the people who don't own real estate. They're also putting the money towards real estate too. I love that.
I didn't actually say that, but that's a very good point, right? Everyone's got to pay to live somewhere. You're either paying your own mortgage or you're going to pay somebody else's mortgage or some other corporation's mortgage or something like that, right? Okay. I'm going to run through this list really fast, and then I want to give you guys the ability to hop on Andy's call because it's a really important call today with Ashley Smith from the North Atlanta office. If you want to cap in 6 months, you need to set an appointment every week. Set one appointment every week. You need to hold 3 appointments a month, okay? That even factors in the fact that not all of your appointments are going to be held, that you set will be held. Hold 3 a month, okay? Take 2 listings each month. So of those 3 unique buyers and or sellers, when you meet with 3 of them, 2 of them you will agree to work with. Notice I didn't say they will agree to work with you. I said you will agree to work with them. Right? We have somebody on the call, I think she's on the call, who just fired a seller yesterday. Yep. Not every person that that initially appears to be an opportunity is in fact an opportunity. We don't need to put up with half the crap people put us through. Okay. The second somebody tries to make some kind of sexual innuendo or, you know, God, I don't even want to share some of the things that Heather went through. Like, it's ridiculous. Time to move on. Okay. So we're going to take 2 of those listings. Okay. Buyer listing or seller listing. And we're going to close 1 house. Okay. So you close 12 properties at the average price range. You will gross about $125,000 and you will net $100,000. You want to net $200,000? Double it. If I told you anyone on the call, let me pick on somebody. Ebony, if I told you, here's your job, I need you to set 2 appointments for every 5 days you show up at work. I need you to go on 6 appointments, face-to-face or Zoom appointments a month. Okay. And I will gross you $200,000. Is there anybody on this call that thinks that's an unreasonable expectation for the money?
No, not at all.
Hell no.
All right, guys, that's the gig you got. You already have a real estate license. You're already connected with the best brokerage in town. You already have a community of leaders that want to help you and a coach that stands behind you. Like, that's your job. Go do it. Right? So what we suggest is having the daily tracker, right? How much time am I spending working? Am I following up properly? Am I executing on all the promises? Andrew, Pam, I appreciate you sharing that. 90% of, what did it say? 90% of all millionaires. What was it, Pam? 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie. Okay, so we track all of our activities. The math actually works out where you only need to have 11 contacts each day to pull this off. 11 contacts each day. Okay, and adding 2 people. What? One more time. 11 contacts a day.
I think his mic was on.
will be $100,000 net. Okay. And then my recommendation was to build your pipeline to 36 people as fast as you possibly can. Okay. A pipeline is people that you would expect to do business with in the next 12 months. Remember, my recommendation was to triple the number of closings that you want to have. So 12 closings times 3 is 36. The faster you can get to a pipeline of 36, the more likely that this will happen. My recommendation, and I'm still kind of creating this model, if you will, is to do that in 8 weeks. Okay, 8 weeks. If you're thinking, I don't know if I can do it or how I can do it, just do it between now and New Year. Okay, go put 36 people in your pipeline between now and December 31st, and you stick with me and the rest of us. I cannot imagine you not capping in 6 months if you're setting 1 appointment a week. 1 appointment a week. Okay. And my final thing here is a daily skill building time, right? What skill am I going to learn today or perfect today or get a little bit better at today? I was also watching Andy and Leslie's Mega Camp presentation this morning for a few minutes. And they said one of the advices was, if somebody says, well, I'm not a really techie person, right? What advice do you have? And Andy said, do you still take your clothes down to the river to wash them? And people would be like, no, I use a washing machine. Well, you're a techie person. Do you still have a rotary phone? No, I have a cell phone. Well, you're a techie person, right? So like, it's just that you're not moving as fast as the tech world is moving, right? And my comment to you on that, and we'll end with this idea, is you will not be, as a real estate agent, you will not be replaced by technology. Okay. I saw this funny meme a few days ago online. It was said like, a real estate agent will never be replaced by a computer. All you would have to do is say, tell me the type of property you're looking for, and they wouldn't have a clue, and so the computer couldn't do anything for them, right? They wouldn't be able to tell you what they want, and it'd be accurate, and so the computer would never work. That's just a joke. I'm glad you guys are, it's probably all the people that are not on video that are laughing right now, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we are now especially.
Oh, that's why I love you, Pam. Right? So you will not be replaced by technology. However, you will be replaced by the real estate agent that is mastering and embracing technology.
Yeah.
Follow that? All right, guys, let's go set an appointment today. Let's make it your mission to set an appointment today. Is there anybody out there that needs to know that you are their connection to real estate? 90% of millionaires made their money through real estate. 3/4 of our country's wealth is tied up in real estate. Rich people either made their money in real estate or put their money in real estate. Y'all, we are the gatekeepers of that. Who in your life now needs an evaluation of how real estate can help them build wealth? Okay. Make sense? All right, I'm going to challenge all of you to go watch Andy's presentation right now with Ashley Smith. It's going to feel a little uneasy at times, and that's how we grow. All right?
Can you share that link, Bill, please?
It's on GL. It's not a Zoom link. It's on GLG Live right now.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
See y'all.
Bye.
Bye, Bill.